Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how you could control the routing to specific proxy in your PAC file, providing that your hosting server is capable to do the things that I'm going to demonstrate here, which is basically take the IP address of the client, store it in a variable, and then use that in the PAC file that gets served to the user. So the business use case here, I guess, to address is the one of you got user, let's say in UK, in London, that you want to go to a UK proxy, whether on-prem or cloud, right? And you have got user in US that's you want to be like going, let's say, to a New York on-prem proxy or cloud proxy, and you have got a single global PAC file. So of course you could achieve the business use case by having two different PAC files, but sometimes customers don't want to be doing that because it can be difficult to manage multiple PAC files, and they prefer to have one global PAC file. So the way I have achieved this is using Flask. There's many different ways how you can do this. You could get it done in PHP. I'm sure you could get it done in HTTP access file on Apache, or maybe directly on the virtual host in a config in the directory. I'm using it in Flask. It's nice and simple. It's sort of I demonstrate what I'm doing. So I've got three different files that I have catted here, right? So the first one is a very simple PAC file. It's just got one variable that I set to this string, and then it's got these two ifs, and one of them says that if this client variable, this string variable, equals to this IP, then return this proxy. So this could be, let's say, the UK, the user in UK, right? Go here, and this is the use case of if the user is, let's say, in US, then return this. Or since this is an RFC 1918 range, I guess the other use case is that this is an internal user, return an internal proxy. This is a public IP or an external user, so return a public VIP of a proxy. And then finally, catch-all direct. So then the second thing that I have cut here is just this, a Python function I've defined here. I'm using Flask. I'm using this Flask function here to read the L3 IP address from the packet that made the request, and I'm storing it in this client IP variable. And then I am opening this PAC file for reading, read lines. So I read it and put every line in a list, and then I create a new file here that I call test underscore and the epoch time or the current time .pac. I then read what I stored inside the lines here in the list, line by line, and I'm looking for this string. If there is a match, I print this to the terminal, and I rewrite the whole line where I replace that string with the value of this variable, which in my case is going to be 10.10.10.150. So what this PAC file is then going to look like is that it's going to say var client equals 10.10.10.150, which means that I match this if, and I'm going to be sent here. But let's look at that here. Let's do the grab. So the third file, by the way, that I cut it here, has just put the Flask into a bash so I can run it. I'm listening on all the IP addresses on the default port 5000 here. So when I run this, I start listening on these IP addresses. So let's make the grab. I'm gonna open, Firefox. Since Firefox is configured with a PAC file pointed to that Flask, listener, Firefox on open made a request to grab the PAC file, which is here. I made the GET request. Here I got the PAC file back, and as you can see, the PAC file, the code has indeed found a match. Here I got this print found, and I printed the IP address, and I replaced this has been replaced by the IP address. So I should then match the if to go to this proxy 154, and indeed if I now go to something like example.com, I can see you can see that I'm going to proxy 10.10.10.154, and I can also do, I suppose, just to show that I am on a proxy. I've got a few blocks configured here, so there you go. I'm blocked by the proxy SG because all of the traffic is going to be matching this statement here in the PAC file, because everything is coming from that IP address. And that concludes this demo. Thank you.